Thank you, Nizar, for sharing this lot of information to grasp here. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, your industry focus on water, so you look at startups that can complement or add value to your business, so you can scale. And especially now going to the AI sector, you need someone to have this kind of technology-driven innovation. But my question to you here is, I mean, you mentioned that people should go to the corporate, join forces with corporate companies. What advice would you try? What do you give founders to go into that space, and how to be able to capture corporate client? How do they do it? What's the first step for them? How they can be visible, known? What should they do
Okay.
basically?
Look, to be fair, it's not an easy feat. It's not an easy feat because there is a lot of competition around the world. But most of the startups and innovation that I have come across in my field, the water field, was through either Greentown Labs in Boston, but this is North America, and or what we call some conventions around the world that are specified in the water space, like global water summits that are organized by Global Water Intelligence magazine. And you have also the International Desalination and Reuse Association. That also I'm a judge on their IDRA Next Wave that takes care of identifying successful startups in the water space. You have also Jesse Digital with Purpose events also, where they have also dedicated program for innovators. So this, I gave you example, 3 or 4 examples where we cultivate and where we pick and identify water startups with great potential. But I'm sure there are hundreds of other venues, but these are the ones that we know are spread between North America, the Middle East, and Europe. Jesse operate in Europe, IDRA, Middle East, and the rest of the world. Greentown Labs and GWS also across the world. But these are only examples. I'm just giving you examples where Sawako looks for innovations.
Absolutely. I totally agree on that aspect you mentioned upon here. I mean, people, whoever is a founder starting a company, should join any exhibition, any convention that relate to their business. For example, now in Saudi Arabia, we have upcoming big event of LEAP. I highly recommend people to attend, either attend as a guest or have a booth there, so people from within different industry can come and visit and have this kind of initiation of discussion where they can potentially, join effort with a corporate client, right?
100%. But it depends. I mean, every field has its own dedicated conferences
Absolutely.
and incubators. Uh, and if they associate themselves with the right incubators, and there are plenty of them around the world. Here in Saudi, we have Garage.
Yes,
Uh,
plenty of incubators.
yeah,
Absolutely.
plenty. But they have to choose the most appropriate incubators for their field, and also they have to choose the most appropriate conferences for their for related that are related to their fields. Otherwise, they will be, squandering very dear cash and resources if they don't, hit the right events. This is very important.
Absolutely. They'll be burning cash very fast. And the game here is cash flow to sustain at some point, to be able to, have enough runway to grow the business. If you are bootstrapping, or you are either having investors, but at the beginning, you're always bootstrapping the business. So every penny you spent is really had to be carefully calculated, basically.
100%. The issue with all startups is really the funding. And but funding alone is not a solution. That's what I wanted to
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
message. You might impress certain investors and what we call in French bailleurs de fonds, or what we call the fund providers.
Mhm.
However, however, to have the funding alone is not enough. I think the best combination is have access to fund, but associate yourself with the right industry. I'm a great believer that you need any innovator, any new startup, any somebody with brilliant ideas they have really to convince an industrial leader, an industrial CEOs, general managers, CTOs, chief technical officers, because once they're convinced, they bring them under their wings and they bring them to the real world in a matter or in a record time. And this proven to be the best formula. Of course, academia has a lot to do. I'm sure that most of the startups start from labs of large universities, like here in Saudi, you have KAUST, and
House,
in
yeah, yeah.
in Canada you have University of Toronto, and in Quebec you have Université de Sherbrooke, and in America you have tons from MIT all the way to Stanford. But this is all well and good. You have the pedigree, you have some funds. Now you have to have the third lack of the tripod, which is a corporate, an industry that can take you under their wings and develop your business if it is successful, of course.
I totally agree. I would like to call it the strategic partner. It sounds like, more because it could be corporate, it could be another startup joining effort, it could be so many different things that could be strategic for the growth of the business itself.
100%. But I'm aware that this is not easy, especially if you're just fresh university, you have your PhD or your master's, you're working on innovation that was supported by certain professors. So you're full of academic input, and you're influenced by academia, which is very far from the real
Mm,
how can I say, the brutal thinking of the real world of corporates. So it's not easy to adapt, if you're a PhD with a great idea that never worked in the real world, or you have not necessarily a PhD, if you're a researcher, even with a master's degree, and you're in 23, 24, 25, and you never had a real job. There is a way it will be a challenge to talk to CTOs, CEOs, general managers, and convince them. But I believe this is the best way forward. And companies with lateral thinking that believe in innovation, they can pick up the good ideas. They can pick up on they can understand who has some good idea and promising idea. You need to have the technology, the innovation, but also you need to have the delivery medium, how you will
yeah.
portray, how to talk, how to present your idea to the corporate, because corporates like Sawako, we're ready to invest. I will not disclose an amount, but we're ready to from our percentage of our revenues and to invest in innovation. But we have to feel comfortable with the people that we're talking to, not only the idea and the math and the physics or the chemistry, which are important, of course, or the thermodynamics principles that
Mm-hmm.
because water is all about thermodynamics. But also we need to talk to see that the person that's delivering the man or woman in charge of this idea, or the team that we can feel that there is a kind of harmony between the way we think. We
Absolutely.
know that they are serious about what they're doing. They understand what they're doing. They're passionate, and most of all, they understand from the get-go that it has to make sense, financial sense. You know what I mean? I know a lot of technologies, amazing technologies, that what we in our business we call them zombies technologies,
Mm-hmm.
zombies innovations, because they're so amazing, but they don't have any financial value. They don't provide, they solve problems, but without financial outcome. So
Yeah,
they become zombies. And I will not, I'm sure, Ihab, you've been, a lot of zombie technologies, zombie innovations. I'm not gonna name names. It's not, it's
absolutely.
not, it's not nice to say this, but they
Absolutely.
have to, being clever, being smart, being intelligent, is very important. This is probably 75%. But then the last 25% that attract corporate to you is you show them that you understand that this technology has to have a financial element, and it had to impact your bottom line properly. You might say, Nizar, this is too difficult for somebody for a young innovator to grasp all of this. But unfortunately, that's the reality of the thing, and it's not very difficult. It's not very difficult, honestly.
I
Like if you
totally
look at,
agree. I mean, I totally agree on that aspect. And definitely investors, the first thing they look at is teams. And of course, the business has to be financially sustainable. Otherwise, we're not here to, do charity, and people will not invest in that business because any investor will want their return on investment. So it's absolutely makes sense.